really important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard, which is what Seriously Speaking is all about.
Yes, hello there. It's one of those days when I'm talking about a book. This is Seriously Speaking. Today, I'm sharing with you insights into a book I read recently that opened my eyes to how innovative people can be if you need to help other people. While advocating your wanderlust or satisfying your wanderlust, you can still afford to do a lot of things. Can you imagine riding a bike all the way from here to London and back, and then from here to South Africa and back? Well, some fella, I'll describe him as a young man, has done this, and he's put them in the book, and one of the books is right here with me. It's called Road Home from the South. Very interesting book, but more interesting is what the book can do if you buy it. Not only if you read it, if you buy it. I'll be back very shortly with my guest on the show in a minute on Seriously Speaking. Now, this book is titled FD, Breaking Limits, Road Home from the South, an African Adventure. I'll just read a little clip before I introduce you to the person who took the memoirs and then turned them into a book. He says, this is from page 111, and it says, I start talking with the woman who owns the buka and discover that she's actually a Nigerian who's been living in Gabon for about 19 years. It is from our conversation that I get a hint that God is making a way for me. She tells me she's still in touch with a lot of Nigerians back home and that one of her relatives has just came back to Gabon from Nigeria. Now, the person who penned those words is somebody that's called Ogbonnaya Kanu, and he's here on set with me with his lovely wife, and I'll explain why after introducing him. Ogbonnaya, welcome to Seriously Speaking.
You.
And then Eso, you know, but he calls her Eso, you know. Eso, why? Just like that?
Well, Eso is a short form. Everybody says Eso. It's easier.
Eso. Now, I find it interesting. Now, you're decorated with a lot of flags and a lot of badges, and you are the Secretary General of a Bikers Association. So ordinarily, you're a biker, right?
Yes, I ride a bike.
You ride a bike, but you know when you think of people who ride bikes, they're like daredevils, you know the kind of evil, Knievel kind of person.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of person that you are?
Well, someone looking
from the outside,
yes, might think that. Yeah. But it's so much more than that.
Now, you've written for more than 10 years. Now, you see what I just read now? It's something from your book.
Yeah.
And it's the combination of the fact that the surprise of finding a Nigerian, the fact that you put God into it, and the fact that you are on your way from somewhere crazy back home, it just kind of encapsulates the kind of person that you are. At what point did you realize that going on these journeys was something that you wanted to do?
Well, first, it was short trips. The first trips we used to make then Lagos to Abuja. And a friend organized a trip around Nigeria. I joined in that, and I was like, this is very nice. Because you get to meet new people, you get to meet new things you would never know exist out there. And I realized this is something I want to do. So short trips, neighboring countries, you stretch a bit more and begin to discover yourself, begin to discover that the limits you thought were there aren't really there. And
because it's all about breaking limits. You know,
exactly.
Breaking limits is what this is about.
Exactly.
Now, before I start taking you on that journey and about this book, Esohe, your husband gets up to you and says, look, I want to drive to Europe, ride to Europe. Did you say, okay, honey, bye?
Not exactly. Not initially.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I would hate to think that you just, you know.
I didn't mind the distance. My worry was the Sahara Desert.
For which of them now? For the Europe
For the one
one
to Europe. I was thinking, aren't you going to go through some stretch of desert land? How will you cope? If something happens to you, what will happen? You know, who would be there to bail you out? But he said something to me. He said, do you think I'm setting out to kill myself? And, you know, that got me.
And of course. You have two little,
yeah.
you know.
Then there were about...
Was just How old were your
6,
daughters?
I think 4. Didi must have been 4, so 4 and 8, 4 and 8 at that time. So I thought, well, obviously he would want to come back home to meet his wife and children. So I'm sure he would have taken steps to ensure that it was safe. And I started trying to bring myself to the point where it wouldn't be a problem. You know, I kept just saying to myself, everything will be well, he'll be well. He would have taken steps to do this. So when he assured me I was okay, I was fine with it, and I started supporting actively.
I don't have the one, this is the one from South Africa. I don't have the one to the Europe. When you decided to go to Europe, what were you aiming to do?
It was just a new limit to break. It was just a new limit to break. I'd done West Africa as far as Senegal and back. So what next? This seemed the natural progression, right? Yeah.
So how does this happen? Somebody gets on the bike and begins to ride.
That's just it. You look at, you plan a route as much as possible. You want to know, where am I going? What border do I need to pass? What documents do I need to have? What are the rules like in this country, in that country? There's a country on the way to Europe. You need to come at and the checkpoints like every 40, 50 kilometers.
Wow.
And you need to have what they call microfiche. All your details are on that sheet of paper. And you leave a copy at each checkpoint.
And you do all of this research before you go, so you're not surprised.
Yes. Otherwise, you're spending like 15 minutes at each checkpoint writing all this out. But if you know ahead of time, you have everything ready. And I think I spent maybe 50, 60 copies on the road, that many checkpoints.
So on the road, what does it pack on that bike? How many changes of shirts?
Okay, so what are you doing the whole day? You're riding the whole day. Your jacket, what you wear outside, your pants, these don't change. It's the same you wear. It's only what you wear inside. We have what we call technical underwear. So it's designed to cool you and stuff like that. So you have like 3, 4 of that. Every night you stop, you're washing, and they dry in like an hour or 2. And that's how...
What does this adventure teach you and your kids?
My kids.
Yes.
To broaden their horizon, not to think that there's anything that's too difficult for you to do. For me, mostly that. To know that you can live life doing the things that you really enjoy doing. And I think that's something that a lot of us really don't do.
They're afraid. So you didn't have any fear. Now, what I even find...
fear.
Oh, you did have fear?
Of course. One day.
One day.
Yeah. And I tell people, it's not being brave, being courageous. You need to have fear to be brave. You need to have fear to be courageous. The difference is that the fear doesn't make you immobile, doesn't freeze you. Yeah, that's the difference. So I have the fears. I don't want to get hurt. I don't know what's going to happen. But beyond that, I see what could be. And that pushes me to move. So in spite of the fear, I move. And then when I get there, I realize,
Is that it?
Yeah.
I guess that's the motivating part. Anybody who listens to this story will say, man, if you can do it, I can achieve whatever I want to.
Exactly.
Just conquer it. So I want to take a break. So I return to introduce people to what this book is trying to achieve so they understand that, I'm not talking nonsense. Thank you so much. I'll be right back with the Kanus and somebody who's one of the beneficiaries from the foundation that they have set up that will benefit from the funds of all the books he's writing. There's still more. We'll be back. Sincerely, I can't tell you much about this book, except you buy it, read it. I read it in under a few hours because I was fascinated, like I told you earlier. I'm going to introduce this young lady. Her name is Priye. This book, process from this book is going to ensure that Priye continues her law education, right? Yes. I did ask her earlier. Priye is, tell me about it though, before I introduce Priye. Priye is you're not an orphan, but your mother is a widow. You lost your father how long ago?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. So how did you meet this foundation? How come you are going to school on their ticket?
Actually, we attend the same church,
Okay.
yes. So I knew them through church.
So you said one word that would describe the FD Foundation.
God sent.
God sent. So is it God sent? Because how does the FD Foundation operate?
So Our focus is actually for fatherless or orphaned kids.
Oh, okay.
And we provide educational grants for them. We deal directly with their schools. The major prerequisite is that you have to have lost either parents or father or both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not mother? You think daddy can cope?
We got a call once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's where we've been sent to.
Maybe it's loss of breadwinner.
Yes.
Sometimes breadwinner may be the mother, don't you think?
True, true. But we feel, and that's the calling we have, that what widows go through in Nigeria is peculiar.
When you say calling, explain to me how that happened between the both of you. You guys started working for orphans and widows.
We don't believe this happened by chance. We believe that God directed our feet in this. He put this thing in our heart. So that's why I feel, I don't feel anything when I hear widowers, but I feel something when I hear widows. And, the nudge that I have in my spirit is this direction to go. So maybe tomorrow we'll have a nudge to move
do otherwise.
Yeah.
So how does it work? I mean, you read the first book.
We didn't plan any of this. We didn't plan any of this. We just said, okay, the book is nice to read. Okay, started with the journal. It's nice to read. Let's publish.
Yeah, actually, it's just a journal of your day-to-day activity.
Yeah. We published, and it was like, wow, nice. And we're selling, and we're making money. And we're like, what do we do with this money? Okay.
Then you spend it on yourself.
We have our needs met. So what else? Okay, why don't we do this? Let's organize this, get this formal, set it up properly. And in fact, we're driving home from church one day, and we're talking about it, and we're like,
and this is the way to go. Because it was something that was done already informally.
Oh, you guys used to do this
informally,
anyway?
Yes. So this just was like a birth into being more structured, having more focus and being able to reach more people.
What is it that these trips do to you, though? Because I find a strong faith element in it. For example, in this book, when you're crossing over from South Africa to Namibia, you had a very nasty experience at the border. They didn't want to let you through. And then as soon as you crossed, you saw something that made you remember that God is in control, something like that.
Yeah. What it is you lean more on Him, because you don't have any options anymore. So it continuously leaning on Him. It's like you're building your trust, right? So it's so much, by the time you're done and you look back and see what you've gone through, whatever Nigeria is throwing is small now.
Compared to it, okay.
Yeah, so I find for myself, He just continues to demonstrate His faithfulness. Continuous reassurance,
Does He call you? For example, there was one situation, I keep referring to the book, pardon me, because it's actually more or less like a book review. There was a situation where he was riding through very rough terrain and, you were in a muddy area and you lost your tires and everything was like, I started missing home. Does He call you?
At any chance he gets to, he does call. Sometimes, maybe not every day, because there isn't that opportunity to do that. So for me, the book, we lived through the book. He would call or send me a text message and say, this is what happened to me today. Some other times it would be when he's posting a journal, he would say, did you see what I sent in last night?
Oh, do you post that journal publicly, or how does it happen?
We didn't. This one, I share with her.
Just with her?
Yes, share with a
few close friends.
Yeah, and don't share everything. Just a little so everyone knows. Okay.
So what next? You've done America, the four corners of America.
Yes.
You've crossed from Lagos to Europe. Where was your destination in Europe?
We made a turn in France. Yeah, went to France, then came back, Austria, Italy, back.
Is there a road to Europe?
There is. It's almost 100% paved.
Is that the one that the Lapa riders, those who are trying to escape Nigeria, pass?
I don't know.
You said Nigerians who are trying to cross. So you're saying there's a road to Europe. Everyone's going to get on their bikes and cross the road.
But there are borders also. So you have, the border control is the border control.
Okay, my time is up. We've not said where they can find this book to buy, though.
Okay. You can get it on Konga. You can get it on Amazon.
So you know what I'm just going to write it on screen to make it easier. That's my contribution. Ultima
so
Studios,
much.
Universal Communications, and Channels TV is making it possible for Nigerians to buy this book and ensure that many more children stay in school, whether their father is alive, their parents are alive or not. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so
I don't know when the next visit is, but you put me on the back. Say I'm the pylon if I'm on your bike.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. So we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.